Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare I'm just not able to go live. Just a minute.
So, Mataji, how many sets of 16 you did?
I did just 108. I finished 108.
So, when we say one round, that means it's 16 times, right?
Yes. When we say one round, it is 108 times.
One round is 108 times, not 16 chants.
No.
Oh, God.
108, we finished the whole mala. We reached 108, and then in these counters, we put one down. Like so, today I finished 16 rounds already. And
My
I have
God.
finished, I have marked it for 2 days. So Srila Prabhupada actually wants us to do almost like 8 hours, those who are only pure devotees. So then they will, when they finish 116, they put one down like that. And then there are 108, they put one down like that. There are 1608s.
So, when they ask us in that chat, how many
rounds? Yes, 16 rounds is when you finish 108 multiplied by 16, and then you bring down one down, which means you have finished one whole set of 16.
No. So, I'm again clarifying. So, when they ask how many rounds you do, that's 108 times is one round.
Yes. One round is 108 times of the whole Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
I thought it's 16 chants.
No.
Then I'm not correct. I'm not writing correct.
Yeah, it's actually Srila Prabhupada has put a very high standard for us to chant. It's it takes time for devotees to reach that 16 rounds. Okay. So I try to do 32 because one of the teachers was telling me that if you're preaching, you should try to do 32 because the more you chant, the more you'll be able to actually be in connection. So what you speak will not be from what you want to say, but what Krishna wants you to say. The Krishna is on your tongue. So I try to do 32, but 16 I definitely try to finish. Otherwise, I aim for 32, which takes 4 hours of chanting. So 32 takes almost 4 hours. It's tough to keep aside 4 hours of japa meditation. Just try to go live once more. It's not going live today. I don't understand why. I wonder whether they have changed some settings. I'll just try one more time and then I'll just record on the computer. Yeah, let me record on
It's already showing live on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. I thought it's not there. Okay. Right. So I'll start the class today, chapter 12. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for letting me know. Otherwise, I'm struggling to do that. Right. So we'll start with chapter 12. I mean, not start. We'll try and conclude chapter 12 today. And we have actually started. We had already started the Priyashtakams. So we'll just go through briefly that before we begin. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji, we can see.
Okay. Thank you. So paying my humble obeisances to the beautiful deities of Sri Radha Govinda temple and Srila Prabhupada and the founder Acharya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and His Highness Tripitaka Swami Guru Maharaj and Temple President His Grace Namnisha Das Prabhu. Vidya Mataji was informing me that many of these slides have been done by Amritananda Das Prabhu. So, and she said it is always good as Vaishnava tradition to thank those who have prepared the slides. So I would like to, thank all those who help me with the classes because the slides have been sent by Prem Kishore Mataji. Some slides are probably by Amritananda Das Prabhu, and some are by Namnishta Prabhu and his team, and some of them I also add on to the class. So I thank everybody who makes these beautiful slides. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarane Om Ajnana Dimran Dasat Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वंदे हम श्री गुरु श्री युतपद कमलम श्री गुरुं वैष्णवं च श्री रूपं सागर जातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादन सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांते नमोस्तुते तत्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। So we begin with this with the Priyashtakam. Priyashtakam is a term which means that these are the verses where Krishna explains to the devotees what kind of a person or devotee is dear to him. So then we need to try and imbibe these qualities so that we become dear to Krishna. So the idea is that we don't try to see Krishna, whereas we become in such a way that Krishna, glances at us. We can't struggle to see Krishna unless we have these qualities. So first we develop these qualities so that Krishna will reveal himself to us. So these are the qualities which I had already begun last class. Actually, I had taken a number of lectures, so I couldn't finish more than 2 verses. So we had started with Adveshta. Adveshta is non-envious. So this is a tough quality to have, being non-envious to anyone. Sarva Bhutanam. You have to be non-envious to all living entities. Maitraha, you should be friendly to all. Karuna, you should be compassionate to everyone. Karuna, evacha. Nirmamo, you should have no sense of mama. No nirmama, nirahankara. You should have no ahankar. Sama dukha sukha kshami. Sama dukha sukha equal whether something good happens in your life, something bad happens. You may, externally behave like anybody else, but internally you are in complete equilibrium, undisturbed. That is sama dukha sukha. Kshami is very forgiving, tolerating, accepting all that comes under the word kshami. Santushta satatam yogi. Always the true devotee will be satisfied. Very tough. For example, when the heat is so bad this summer, I keep saying it's so hot, And then every time I think, like sama dukha sukha kshami. And Krishna says, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha, whether it's hot, cool, try to be Satatam, Santushta, Satatam, all the time in equanimity. Accepting whatever. Yatatma Dridha Nishchaya, very determined. Mayyar Pita Mano Buddhir. So all completely surrender to Krishna, Mano Buddhir Yo, Mad Bhakta Same Priya. Such a devotee is very, very Mad Bhakta. Such a devotee of mine, Same Priyaha. You become dear to Krishna when you have these qualities. These are just 2 verses. Now there will be 6 more verses to complete the 8 verses. So continuing on Srila Prabhupada's lectures here, let's quickly go through some reference verses. Sorry. So Santushta, let's just understand the word Santushta. Santushta is someone who is satisfied. Satatam, always. A devotee actually should not be dissatisfied. We become dissatisfied, we should remind ourselves that if you're a devotee who has accepted that whatever Krishna is given us is based on our own karma and desires, and he is doing what is best for us, and when I'm devoted to him, he's going to be supporting and helping me to get rid of all these results of the desires and my karma. So a devotee will therefore never be dissatisfied in any condition, accepts everything as a prasada or accepts everything as something which God has given us. So he should always remain satisfied. He knows that my pains and pleasures are now dependent on the will of Krishna. Not now. Always they're dependent on the will of Krishna. So if Krishna desires that I should suffer like this, why should I bother? Let me suffer. Santushta. So these are the many verses to support this. Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures provides these different verses from the scriptures to support these things. Let's look at Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8. It says my audio quality will be poor. I hope it's fine. तत्तेनुकम्पां सुसमीक्षणामाणो भुञ्जान एवात्मकृतं विपाकं हृद्वाग्वपुर्भिर्विदधन् नमस्ते जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सदाय भाग जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सदाय भाग. So in this verse, Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy upon him. So someone who is able to wait, all the while patiently suffering all the reactions of his own past deeds. He will just keep on suffering whatever are the reactions of his past deeds, knowing that they're simply the reactions of his past misdeeds in his previous lives or this lives. And he is just waiting for Krishna's costless mercy very patiently and earnestly, and offering Krishna his respectful obeisances without complaining and grumbling. He's offering his respectful obeisances within his heart, his words, his body. Such a person will surely be eligible for liberation, for it becomes his rightful claim. Actually, we are the children of Krishna. So, everything legitimate, they belong to us, whatever is Krishna's, because we are his children. So, but then what do we need, right? So they say that a child, what does he need to get the legitimate property of his parents? He needs to just stay alive. That's it. Similarly, we just need to stay alive in Krishna consciousness. So for us to be eligible to get, to get whatever is due to us, then it becomes a rightful claim to get our liberation from our material and our subtle, our gross and subtle bodies. The Srila Sridhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as a legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain the inheritance from his father, one simply needs to be alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and then he becomes eligible to receive the mercy of Krishna. In other words, he will then be promoted. Once you become eligible, you will automatically be promoted. You don't need to do anything more than that. And then the purport continues this way. It says that the word samikshamana, it indicates that the devotee earnestly waits for the mercy of the Supreme Lord, while at the same time suffering all the painful effects of his previous sinful activities. So Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma also. Once you truly surrender, you won't even need to suffer the previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of some previous sinful mentality, the bija may still be there. The Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit. He doesn't want us to be blocked by our spiritual progress by our tendency to enjoy material. So the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. The purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail this mentality that has produced the activity. So although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false, material, temporary happiness in the world, which is just actually a shadow of sadness itself. So the Lord creates a particular situation in our lives just to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit that is there within us, because only then we can get the bliss which is permanent. If we don't stop being attached to temporary material happiness, this eternal bliss will stay away from us. We will always be, in this blocked in this cycle of temporary unhappiness and temporary happiness. So this unhappiness is actually created by the Lord to eradicate the enjoying spirit, and it is suffered by a sincere devotee because he knows the reason for it now. So it is not technically a karmic reaction always. It may be the divine Lord's mercy just to induce a devotee to completely let go of the material world so that he can get rid of his material and his gross and subtle bodies and return back to Godhead. So a sincere devotee earnestly desires to go back to the Lord's abode, and so he willingly accepts such merciful punishment to the Lord, and he continues offering respects and obeisance to the Lord with his heart, his words, and body. And such a bona fide servant of the Lord considers all these hardships just a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord himself. And then he becomes a legitimate son of God, as indicated by the words Daya Bhag. It becomes your right. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the supreme pure Lord Krishna without undergoing a rigid purificatory process, which may appear like suffering, but which is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. It's a very beautiful understanding which Srila Prabhupada has given us. So then there is this verse again that he further explained that te nukampan susamikshamano gunjana eva atma kritam. So a devotee, when he's put into distress, what does he think? When a distress happens, he only thinks, oh, this is Krishna's kindness. He's giving me a little pain, a little hurt. Although actually I should be suffering more. So the devotee's view is like that. He doesn't get disturbed by the pain. So santushta, he is santushta satatam yogi. He's a yogi, he's always attached to Krishna, and he is santushta satatam. Even in distressed condition, he is able to think of Krishna, and therefore he's a yogi. Yogi nam api sarvesha mad gatenam taratmana. In 6.47, we have already seen this verse. A devotee who always thinks of Krishna is a devotee, yogi, yatatma. He does not neglect his duty or devotional service. Dridha nishchaya. Dridha nishchaya means he believes in the word of Krishna. Sarva dharman. What is the word of Krishna? Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Devotee believes that I have nothing to do. Simply I have to surrender to Krishna. That's all the business. And it is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna bhakti kaile sarva karma krita haya. It means simply if you serve Krishna, all other duties get discharged. And this is called Dridha Nishchaya. You're determined. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Pratyachya Mamekam Sharanam Vrata. So the devotee takes it very seriously. And then with the Dridha Nishchaya, the firm conviction, he says, yes, I am surrendered to Krishna. And then every other business becomes complete. And this is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Sudridha Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Haya. Becomes as if you're doing everything is done simply when you surrender to Krishna. You don't have to separately do all the things. I request everyone to please put your attendances. Ravi Prabhu is here to post attendance today. So Dridha Nishchaya. Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir, mind and intelligence should be constantly focused on the lotus feet of Krishna. Mai Arpita, to the form of Krishna, that is meditation. Dhyanavasthita gaddad gatena pashyanti yam yogina. When you are into deep meditation, you come to the temple, you take the impression of Radha and Krishna, and then you think of it. The highest, topmost yoga system is when you're able to meditate on the form of the Lord. Therefore, the deity worship is important, because when you're engaged in deity worship, you're having the impression of Krishna and Radha Rani, and when you keep it in your heart, you become a topmost yogi. Mai arpita mano buddhir yo mad bhakta. So many people would like to interpret that Krishna is saying that Mai arpita, submit to me, and then he's saying clearly Krishna is saying me. But then people will say, actually, Krishna is just meaning the Parabrahma, the whole Brahman. But actually, when he's saying, surrender yourself to me, keep me in your mind, he's actually meaning him only. Krishna is saying me. And then people would like to twist the meaning and say, no, actually, he's meaning something else. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada gives us what is the straightforward meaning of the Bhagavad Gita, rather than making it all very elaborate and putting your own interpretations into the Bhagavad Gita lines. Mai arpita, surrender to me. Mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyaha. Such a devotee who is able to keep me in his mind, always is doing devotional service. Same priya, very dear to the Lord. So if you want to be dear to Krishna, If you want to be seen by Krishna, you want to be seen by God, you have to follow this instruction, and then your life will be successful. So Lord here is describing the list of transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee. He's never disturbed by any circumstance. Let's try to remember, and whenever we feel disturbed, let us remember we want to be dear. Let's not be disturbed. Let's not never be envious of anyone. Have no enemies. Be friendly. Consider everybody as a friend. Doesn't mean you trust everybody and get cheated. That's not what it means at all. But it's just that you have a compassion towards anybody who is, whether he's done some past misdeeds towards you, you're compassionate. He's done it under his own, modes of whatever modes he has been in, whatever. So he prefers suffering to protesting. He doesn't protest to the Lord. He prefers accepting, and then he waits for the mercy of the Lord. So it says, Tattenu kampansu samishano bhunjana evatma kritim vipakam. We've seen this already. When a devotee is in distress, he thinks that Lord is merciful upon him. When you think like that, what is the result? Nobody else is benefited. When you think like that, you accept that this is a mercy of the Lord, you will become calm. You will become quiet, patient, and equipoised, even in distress. A devotee is also always kind. So we are just looking at all these two verses. The quality is very kind, even to his enemy. Nirmama, we already looked at that. No, not much attachment, not attach much importance to pain and trouble. Not being body conscious is the most important. Not having false ego, no ahankar. Satisfied, santushta, not endeavoring much to, actually a devotee doesn't feel the need to work very hard to achieve something. Because that too much of prayas is considered as a negative to devotional service. You need to do something well and peacefully and nicely. You don't need to be endeavoring like a crazy person. So when he's not endeavoring, with too much difficulty, he does what he does joyfully. A perfect mystic, he faithfully follows the instructions of the spiritual master, and determined he will keep his senses perfectly controlled. So these rare qualities, they get developed when you follow the regulative principles also automatically. The mind and your intelligence will be fixed in the Supreme Lord, and such a devotee is ready for liberation. So Krishna says he takes all sufferings, the devotee takes all sufferings as Krishna's kindness. Let's look at a graphic representation and thanking the person who has created this slide. Adveshta, like we said, let's try to remember these qualities. Non-envious, kind to everyone, even his enemy, considers everything as a reaction of his past deeds or misdeeds. Tatte anukampa, takes distress as a mercy. Tatte anukampa, anukampa means mercy. Santushta, satisfied with whatever the Lord does, doesn't over endeavor to achieve anything. Nirmamo, no sense of proprietorship, no attachment, doesn't attach importance to pains and troubles. Equipoised in happiness and sadness. Dridha Nishaya, tolerant, never disturbed by circumstances. Yatatma means self-controlled, completely perfect mystic, because he's fixed in the instructions of his master. Mai arpita manobuddhir, dedicated to me. So what is the thought process of a devotee when a distressful condition comes? When a distressful condition happens in life, he will think, the Lord is merciful to me. And how is the Lord merciful? He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should actually suffer more than I'm suffering now. By the Lord's mercy, I'm not getting all the punishment, I'm just getting a little. So this person is acting as my enemy, if someone is acting as your enemy, due to my own past deeds. So let me suffer than protest. And when you think in these manners, what is the result? You will automatically become a calm, quiet, patient person despite any distressful condition. And then you will never be envious to anyone. You will not be disturbed by anyone's behavior. And you will never become your enemy's enemy. You will even be a friend to your enemy. So such a person then becomes eligible for liberation. So shall we quickly go through a purport of this? This one I have already done. So we can move on. Let's move on to the next verse, which is 12.15. We have finished 2, 13 and 14. We have 4 more to go. So in 12.15, what are the qualities? Krishna says, he for whom no one, I love this verse actually. Yasminno dvijate loko lokano dvijate chayah harsha marsha bhayo dveger mukto yah sachame priyah. Sacha me priyah. This person is also very, very dear to me. What kind of a person? He for whom no one is put into difficulty. You know, this is you have to really think of this all the time. No one is put into any kind of difficulty because of you. And not only that, you also are never disturbed or become anxious because of others. And so he's steady in happiness and distress. He tries not to cause disturbance to others, nor does he get disturbed by himself. Yasmin no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chayaha. And such a person, harsha marsha, in happiness and distress, he is steady. So let's look at a graphic representation of that. A person is not affected by others. A devotee is engrossed in his Krishna consciousness. Material circumstances don't disturb him, and he's not disturbed by anyone. And such a stage is obtained how? By the Lord's grace. Like Prahlad Maharaj, his own father was out to kill him, but it didn't disturb him at all. And he doesn't affect others also. Nobody else also is put into anxiety or difficulty, fearfulness, dissatisfaction because of the devotee. So you try to become a person who is not the cause of distress for others, as well as you don't get distressed by what anybody says or does to you, and you become kind to everyone. Look what a high standard. Imagine a person like that. What a beautiful person that would be. A materialistic person is generally envious, sorrowful, dejected, especially when others possess something sense gratifying that he does not have. A devotee who is always transcendental to all these kind of disturbances is very dear to him. So it's not, he won't be a materialistic person. Of course, a transcendental spiritual person is is a person who's dear. So you can see all these Hare Krishna devotees, they are perfectly in happiness, although they are in bliss. And who has taught them this? The idea of Sankirtan movements propagated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. You can see both of them here, and all of the people who follow them, they go into bliss when they are chanting, and then they carry that bliss through the day, throughout their activities, because they have surrendered, and they don't give disturbance to others. They don't get disturbed. So that was the quality seen in 12.15. Let's look at 12.16.
I can't see your slides. I can only see the backdrop.
Is it others also?
I don't know. But I can
I
only,
can see the slides.
I can only see Krishna
I
in
can see the
the.
slide, Mataji.
I am not able to see your slide
I think you have to probably just shift and see a little bit. If others can see, then.
because I'm just getting yellow Krishna in the battlefield.
Mataji, maybe you might have pinned Mataji. Just check it, Mataji.
You can just shift and check on other versions of seeing. View, you can check the views. In this slide, I am displaying the 12.16th verse. Let me just say this. It says,
I can see it.
Anapeksha Shutirdaksha Udasino Gatavyatha Sarvarambha Parityagi Yo Madbhaktah Same Priyaha. So it means that a devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some particular result, is very, very dear to me. Are you able to see now, Anjali Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Right. So here we can see, I think this is Kapila Muni, and we can see how he's advising his mother on how she should conduct herself. So and that whole lecture which Kapil Muni gives to his mother is extremely priceless. It's really nice to read it from Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this verse, what does it mean? A devotee receives the money that he gets through Lord's grace without hesitation, but he does not over endeavor for it. He will bathe twice a day. He will rise early in the morning for devotional service. He will keep himself clean inside and outside. He will be an expert in all his activities, and he will have full faith in all authoritative scriptures. He will be unbiased. All pains he will be above pains as well as designation. So we have in this Nectar of Devotion, the test which I had just given, in which we have Sarvopadhi Vinir Muktam. A pure devotee will be Sarvopadhi, Upadhi. He will have he'll be able to lead a life with no designations. His mind will be free from all designations. I'm a woman, I'm an Indian, I'm a teacher, I'm an English teacher, I'm in Coimbatore, all designations. Because everything is body. So he doesn't relate himself with the body all the time. He does all his work which is required to be done, but in his mind he's free from all designations. No pride of what he is, no anger at what he is. So as body is also a designation, he becomes free from bodily pains and sufferings. He never endeavors for anything against the principles of devotional service. He will always, once he knows that this is favorable for devotional service, he will do that. So it is called Anukulyena Sankalpa. It is favorable for your devotional service, Sankalpa, you will determinedly do it. But Pratikulasya Varjanam. If you know that it is going to be against your devotional service, he will Varjanam, he will take it out of his life. So he will not venture into any activity which will not help him in advancing in devotional service. He will make all efforts to build a temple, but he will not construct a big house for his own personal relations or personal use. Now let's look at the next one. We are coming to the end of these verses. Yo na hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhaktimanyah same priyaha. Again it says same priyaha, very dear to me. Such a bhaktiman. What kind of a bhaktiman is dear to Krishna? One who does not grasp pleasure or grief, lament, nor desires, who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, right? Sees a stone and a gold as one and the same. He may use the stone, for Krishna, he will use the gold for Krishna, but for him, personally, they are one and the same. So whether it is auspicious or inauspicious things, he will renounce both. He doesn't consider anything as belonging to him. He thinks everything is Krishna's. To one who is very eager to be transferred to the spiritual world, knowledge is given by Supreme Lord situated in everyone's heart, and one must surrender unto the Supreme Personality if he wants liberation, because only by knowing Krishna can you surpass the boundary of birth and death. Otherwise you will have to come back into the cycle of birth and death according to Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So what kind of a person, what are the emotions? So what do we see in this slide? He is unaffected by material emotions. He doesn't rejoice, grieve over material gain or loss. Makes no difference to him. And he neither laments nor desires. He's not anxious to get a son or a disciple. He doesn't lament by not getting them. And what else? He is transcendental in the face of auspicious and inauspicious and sinful acts. He prepares to accept risks for the Lord's satisfaction. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a bhaktiman devotee, Same Priyaha, Krishna says, the most essential quality which will automatically get all other qualities is that you become a devotee and then you become dear to Krishna. Let's look at the 18 and 19. Samaha shatrau cha mitre cha tatha manopamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarjitaha. So many of them will appear to be repeating, but we need those repetitions. So one who is equal to friends and enemies, equal poise in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, always free from contamination, silent, satisfied with anything, doesn't care for residence. He doesn't think this is the place I should live, this is my house, this is how it should be. He knows he's anywhere traveler. So he is not attached to any of these, and he's fixed in his knowledge and engaged in devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear. So in this picture, we can see Ambarish Maharaj, and we can see that how Durvasa Muni had become very angry. He's also a very highly elevated sage, and but he was jealous of Ambarish becoming a very pure devotee, because he was very strictly following Ekadashi, and he was actually protected by the Sudarshan Chakra because he was doing the Ekadashi with complete devotion. So the Lord comes and protects the devotee when you start surrendering. And then when Durvasa, there's a whole story there how Durvasa Muni wanted to kind of test him or wanted to break his Ekadashi Vrat. So he says, I'll just take a bath and come, you wait for me, we'll break the fast together. Now for Ekadashi Vrat, more than fasting, it's important that to follow the correct time of breaking the fast. If you don't break your fast on that time, your whole Ekadashi Vrat is considered to be null. So then the timing, he goes to take a bath, and the timing is like, going to get over. So Ambarish Maharaj's, secretaries tell him, you just take a tulsi leaf or just a little drop of water. Then, at least your vrat will not become null. So then when Durvasa Muni is a sage with a lot of power, so he immediately understands that Ambarish Maharaj has taken, has broken his fast, and he comes and gets very angry. How dare you not wait for me? And then out of his head, he creates a demon. But you can say, Ambarish Maharaj, look at his face. Look at the others' faces. They're all so disturbed and scared because of the monstrous appearance of that, demon. And Ambarish Maharaj is completely undisturbed. So that is the, if it would be we would run for our lives over there. So Ambarish Maharaj is like, completely undisturbed. And then the Sudarshan Chakra goes following, kills this demon and starts following Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni goes and to Shiva and to everybody, asking him to be saved from that Sudarshan Chakra. And Vishnu himself says, I can't do anything. My Sudarshan Chakra is protecting my devotee. You better ask the devotee himself to save you. And then Durvasa Muni had to come back and fall at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj, and only then the Sudarshan Chakra stopped following him. So that was just a story to show that how the devotee is protected, and you dare not, attack a devotee. So a devotee is always free from bad association. He's transcendental to artificial fame and infamy. He doesn't bother if somebody will say something ill about him or good about him. Both don't disturb him. He doesn't become proud when somebody says something wonderful. He doesn't feel awful when somebody says something bad, and he is equal in distress and happiness. He speaks of nothing but Krishna. Otherwise, he'll be silent. He won't go and gossip. That's called prajalpa. It's very clearly mentioned that once you take up devotional service, you just don't like gossip. You don't even sit and like to listen to the news for too long. You want to know what's happening in the world. That's it. You're satisfied. You don't want to, go on with these material things. You want to always just be with Krishna. So silent is not that he will not speak at all. It just means that he will not speak nonsense or just speak, this and that. A devotee is happy in all conditions with regard to food, residence. He is ever satisfied. Underneath a tree or a palatial building, whatever, he doesn't mind. He's attracted to neither. He's fixed in his determination and knowledge, and he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but he will engage. It's not he has to try hard. You don't need to really struggle to get these qualities. He knows that simply by engaging in loving devotional service to Krishna, these qualities will automatically be developed in him. So that is also very important to understand. So let's quickly look at the 18 to 19 verses. What are the qualities? Equal to friends and enemies. Again, equipoised in duality of respect and disrespect. Then he is Sangha Vivarjita. He is free from, once you come into devotional service, you don't want to engage much with people who are purely materialistic, talking only materialistic, because you want to keep your mind engaged in Krishna consciousness. You will try to be with bhaktas all the time. You try to seek the association of devotees.
Mataji, I think you are mute.
Okay. Is the live streaming also happening? I wonder. Okay. Anyway, so we are close to the end. So he is fixed in determination and knowledge. You can hear me now and see my screen as well.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, now we can see.
Okay, thank you. I think there was a disconnection for some time. So fixed in determination, knowledge, and he is a bhaktiman. He is engaged in devotional service. So Krishna consciousness and good qualifications. If you one who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, one does not need to extraneously endeavor to acquire the qualification, because if you simply engage in Krishna consciousness, the qualities get developed in you. And if one who is not a devotee, Krishna says that even if one is not a devotee, actually he will, although he may appear to have several good qualities, in reality those qualities don't exist, because he is ultimately not surrendered and he is contaminated. So such a contaminated soul cannot have all these qualities. It's only possible for a devotee to have these qualities, because otherwise it is definitely towards, has a selfish flavor to it, and so it's not pure, it is contaminated. So these qualities are not independent of bhakti, they automatically result from surrender to Krishna. That tatashta lakshanam. So it is, it's ancillary. Swarupa lakshanam. These are the two. One is essential, one is ancillary. Bhaktiman is the most essential quality from which all other qualities will automatically appear. What is your attitude towards yourself? You don't have any sense of proprietorship. You are free from all false ego, because you now know after reading the Gita that you are not the body. Gata Vyatha, you are pain free. Your Sarvarambha Parityagi means, all endeavors, you're free from that. You don't have to struggle. What you know, that if Krishna wants you to do something, it will automatically come to you and you will do it. You don't struggle extra for anything. You're non-envious, you're kind to everyone, equal to enemies. Udasin means without any cares, always free from contaminating association. Basically silent, satisfied, happy. How will your reaction be when things happen? You are satisfied, tolerant, you're an expert. These are all very important. Daksha, you will be an expert in what you're doing, because you give yourself wholly to it, because you're surrendering it to Krishna. Self-control, completely perfect, mystic, equipoise in happiness and distress, neutral, pure, neither rejoices nor grieves over some big material gain. You are like over the, so happy in the ninth cloud, or if you're so distressed, if you're lost, no, none of this. You're very equipoised. You don't lament, you don't desire, transcendental in all phases. Only when you do all this you can reach the spiritual world, otherwise you'll be just roaming about in the material world only. So equipoise in dualities and doesn't care for any residence. And how is it dealing with the Lord for a devotee? Very determined, mind and intelligence fixed on Krishna, engaged in service, and basically very fixed. Now this is the last verse of this chapter. It says, ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियः. So what does this last verse says? To the question, who is better? Is one engaged? So Krishna, in the beginning, Arjuna has asked, is it better for one who is engaged in his universal form? Because we saw in chapter 11, Krishna has shown his universal form, how he's actually, immersed, he's actually present in the whole universe. So, right, he's there in the whole universe is his form. And so Arjuna gets a doubt and he says, is it better to be engaged in the impersonal Brahman, or is it better, because he feels so close to Krishna, and Krishna is saying, I am this Lord, and so he feels so close in that personal association, so he has a doubt. So, as you would have remembered, if you remember, chapter 12 began with this question, right? So we're looking at the ending, how Krishna is saying. So the Lord has replied to him now so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service is not only better, but it is perfect in the process of spiritual realization. Through good association, you will develop attachment for this kind of devotional service. And so for that, you need to accept a spiritual master and then hear and chant and observe the principles with faith and attachment and devotion. And when you engage in this transcendental service of the Lord, you will get him. The impersonal conception of the supreme absolute truth is recommended only up to the time that one surrenders himself for self-realization. As long as one does not have the chance to associate with the pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. So unless you come in contact with a pure devotee, you will never understand the beautiful joy or the ultimate bliss you experience when you have a personal relationship with Krishna. So till the point that you meet a pure devotee and you start understanding, it is beneficial to stay in the impersonal conception. So what is the translation of the verse? He who follows the imperishable path of devotional service and who engages himself with faith, making Krishna the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. So that is the end of this chapter. So dearest of all is one who makes Krishna the goal of his life. They follow the imperishable path of devotional service. They make Krishna their supreme goal and they engage themselves in Krishna's service with complete faith. Vancha kalpataru vyasya kripa sindhu vacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, we have finished chapter 12 and tomorrow we will start with chapter 13. Anybody would like to share something or shall I end the class? Roma Mataji, Virendra Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu, Anjali Mataji.
Nice class, Mataji. Mataji, I just want to check in other devotees. Anybody is interested to come for August temple inauguration in this group?
Yes, Prabhuji, I asked. Anjali Mataji was saying that it's difficult for her. Roma Mataji also
Yeah.
said both of them, but still just don't decide no. So Anjali Mataji and Roma Mataji, if at all by some chance you feel you can make it in August 19, if not 17, 18, 19 or 16, and for 3-4 days, at least on the day, maybe on 19. Because if you come a little early, you can do some service at the temple. There are lots of services available. What about Virendra Prabhu? I haven't heard from Prabhuji. Roma Mataji? Wait a minute. Okay, Hare Krishna, Ravi Prabhu, if you can make a call to some of them maybe.
Okay, Mataji. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Anjali Mataji has said it's difficult for her to come. Roma Mataji also has said it's difficult.
Okay, Mataji. No issues. Just information sake I asked. That's all.
I will be filling the form. I am definitely trying to come. I will just book my tickets and fill the form.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I went in the class. Thank you so much. Please join me tomorrow.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.